right, good morning. Welcome to day 219 on the AT. My name is Mosey, and this is Rissaroams. Got into camp last night just before 4 and got settled in. Another hiker showed up. What? Haven't had that happen in a while, and now 2 nights in a row. Section hiker, his name is Bassclef. He's actually friends with the guy Mosey who thru hiked this year, so that's wild. But yeah, had a nice chat with him. It's about 7:20 right now. Could have rolled out earlier, but we were having a good chat. Let's see, so I have about 12.5 miles planned today. Not a long one. Originally I was gonna stop and get lunch with Thru, who I went to high school with. Unfortunately, a work situation came up and he's not able to make it out today. So I will still be going to eat in Branchville. And so yeah, I'll swing by one of the taverns there, get something to eat, and hopefully get a couple items for resupply. I need one more breakfast, and I finished off my chips yesterday, so need some of those. So yeah, got a couple things to do in town. It's about 9 miles to town, and then I'll have like 3.5 miles to camp. As of last night, less than 38 miles to go. We'll be done so soon. Oh, also at the shelter last night, so there is no water source for the shelter, so I did not believe that there would be water there. I packed out 3 liters from High Point State Park, knowing that like I'd already made dinner, so I wasn't going to use water for that. Bassclef packed out, he said, 5 liters of water from the last place he was able to get water. Turns out there is someone who keeps a water cache there, and I didn't anticipate it being stocked still this late in the season, but there was a ton of water. There was a jug on top of the bear box, but then inside the bear box there were like 5 of like the huge water jugs, and there was a phone number in there to text and let them know if water was getting low. So that's awesome. If you stay at this shelter, know that there should be water there. So that's good news. I mean, it's always a risk with a water cache. And it's not something I really like to risk, but good to know people are watching out for us still. One more thing about the shelter. So I went and used the privy this morning, and I walked out, and Bassclef was like, "You used the privy? It says it's closed." I was like, "It says it's closed as of a week and a half ago because of wet paint." I'm like, "I'm sorry that they didn't come back and take the signs down. I'm using the privy. The paint isn't still wet." So, yeah, I don't know. The Ridge Runner on Far Out said that they would update on there when the privy was reopened, but you're not going to stop me from using a privy because you painted it a week and a half ago. I think that it's perfectly fine, and so I used it. On top of Sunrise Mountain. Clearly not in time for sunrise. That's okay. So my 2,000 mile video went live this morning, and because initially I had a much longer delay than I have at the moment, most people think I'm already done and home by now and are congratulating me. It took a lot of zeros, and I don't video all my 0 days, so that delay is not as long as it used to be. Stop. I don't know, 12 days right now? I can say that because it's over by the time you're seeing this. But yeah, so today I have, well, yeah, I have 2 more days after today. And I want to let people know, oh, I'm not quite done yet. I'm going to tell you. I don't want to keep it a secret. I will share when I'm done. But yeah, so just think it's funny. Everyone thinks I'm probably already done, which is good. I don't want people just showing up. Love you guys, but don't surprise me. That's scary. So there are 2 taverns when I walk through town today that I could potentially get lunch at. There's also a barbecue place, but Hero's not the craziest about barbecue for being from the South. I only like one kind of barbecue sauce, and I know I'm not going to find it here. I'm a Carolina vinegar sauce kind of gal. But yeah, there's Mountain House Tavern, which sounds really nice. Heard it's a little bit more expensive, more of a platinum blazer place, which I could probably be considered these days. But the Gyps Tavern, I actually am thinking about more because it says that they have some resupply options. I don't know if they still have them this late in the season, but your girl needs another Pop-Tart or something for breakfast and maybe one more snack. So it'd be good to go to a place that sells that. Seems like both places will fill up your water bottles for you, which I will need because I won't have water, you know, on the way or at camp once again, from what I understand. But Mountain House Tavern actually has like a hose outside that you can fill your bottles up. And, you know, because you never know who's going to be working, if they're going to be willing to help or not. So I like the idea of knowing that I'm at a place I can fill my bottles up if I have to, but I don't know, I guess I could just sneak to the tavern and fill them up if necessary. Although just now I checked the comments for the shelter, and someone did recently comment, like within the last couple days, that there are pools of clear water to scoop from. So that's good. Also want to say, I'm so tired this morning, which doesn't make sense. I slept for like 10 hours last night, and yeah, within 3 miles this morning, I'm already like, I want to go to sleep. Rest will come soon. Of all the songs to have stuck in my head, I have like the United States in alphabetical order just playing on repeat up there. So Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, and so on. Here at Culver Fire Tower, ooh, wind just picked up. It is actually in active use, and there are no trespassing signs on it, so not going to go up there, but still have a bit of a view. Alright, just leaving Gyps Tavern with a very full belly. It is after 1 o'clock. Had order of wings and a burger and fries. Sat by the lake, soaked up the sun for a little bit. Didn't appear as though they had any resupply stuff around. Yeah, with it being the tail end of the season, I wasn't too surprised, especially because I heard that they didn't really have much to choose from to begin with. So no sweat there. I may be able to get something at the Mohican Outdoor Center tomorrow. If not, we'll have a skimpy breakfast on my last day, but that's okay. Food was great. They filled up my water bottles, and now we're back on trail. I will say crossing the road the first time was a lot easier than the second time. But yeah. So we only have 3.5 miles to go until camp, so should be a decently early day. But we'll see if all this food in my belly weighs me down and slows me down. So I posted on my Instagram that once I get to camp tonight, I will only have 25 miles left. And as long as tragedy does not strike, I will be a through hiker on Saturday. And someone messaged me and said, "How are you feeling about this?" And I told her, I have cried every single day this week, and I expect that I would cry almost every day, probably for the rest of my life. I was just coming on to record something, and I have a little friend hanging out with me. Hi there. Anyway, ran back into cricket and talked with him for a little while. And so it is now like 2:40, and I still have a little over 2 miles to get to camp. But I mean, hey, that's fine. I didn't really need to get into camp at, 3 o'clock anyway. So. Also finalizing plans for, post trail, where I'm staying that night and how I'm getting back. So I'd originally planned on staying at the Deer Head Inn in Delaware Water Gap, kind of treat myself, go to the jazz club there and celebrate. But I'm getting in on a Saturday. They have a 2-night minimum for Saturday. I didn't really want to stay 2 nights. And so wasn't quite sure what I was going to do. I was looking at flights too, and so I messaged Polar and was saying like, hey, I don't know if you want to just come to my celebration dinner, and then because he was going to drive me to the airport and then just drop me off at a hotel near the airport, after dinner, or if you want to like wake up early in the morning and take me to the airport. And he was like, whatever you want to do. I definitely want to be there to celebrate though. And then he told me I was welcome to come stay with him and his family that night, so I don't have to pay for a hotel, which is exciting. And then he just texted me and said, are you allergic to cats? And I was like, no, I love cats. So that's even better news. I will get to hang out with some cats that night. Well, got to the Brink Road shelter about 15 minutes ago. I've been trying to pitch my tent. The ground is incredibly uneven, angled, rocky, rooty. Cannot get stakes in very far at all, despite beating them with rocks, putting rocks on top of them. I'm not getting a good tent pitch, and we're probably about 15 minutes from sunset now. I still have to go get water. I really don't want to sleep in the shelter because it's gonna get cold tonight, and I would be warmer in my tent and cozier in my tent, and I just like being in my tent. But I'm frustrated, and I think I'm gonna admit defeat. We're just gonna sleep in the shelter. It's gonna be fine, but I'm a little mad about it. I wanted to be in my tent.